Pestilence, issue number 4. This is by Aftershock Comics. This series surprised the hell out of me. First off, before I actually talk about this series, can we just take a moment and just appreciate this cover? Holy shit. Like, this is one of my favorite comic book covers I've ever seen. Like, if they could make a version of this without the title and like the credits and all that, I would totally want this like hanged up on my wall somewhere. I fucking love this cover. This series has amazing covers, by the way. Like, it's not just this issue. Like all the other issues, the cover is phenomenal. I don't know who the cover. Actually, let me look to see if I can find who the cover is. Okay, so the cover is by Tim Bradstreet, and I actually looked him up. He is the guy who is known for doing the covers for Hellblazer and The Punisher. Both series, I like absolutely love their covers. Like when I was younger, I used to, even like throughout my teens when I wasn't reading comic books, I would still use the Hellblazer covers as like wallpapers for my computers and stuff like that. Like I love those covers. Like the guy does such an amazing job. Like it looks so realistic. But yeah, Pestilence. Pestilence, I picked up the first issue thinking it was something else. Here's the thing. I'm a huge fan of like medieval stuff, especially like the Crusades. I love like reading about the Crusades and things like that. I really like that time period. Like I'm a huge history buff, and I prefer like ancient, like medieval times, more than I do like. And you know how there's like people who like are World War One buffs, World War Two buffs, stuff like that. Me is like the medieval stuff. Like I love reading about that time period. So as soon as I saw Pestilence and I saw the cover, I was like, all right, I'm getting this. I don't know what's it about, but I'm getting it. And then I read a little bit about it, and so yeah, basically every Tuesday I will look up the website of my local comic book shop and see what's being released that week. And Pestilence, I saw the cover for that, and I was like, oh my god, this looks fucking beautiful. And I looked a little bit into it, and I thought it was going to be something else. I thought the story was going to be basically about a group of crusaders coming back from the crusade, and there's like a black plague epidemic, and they kind of have to like deal with that. And it's not. I thought this was going to be like a realistic take on that time period, but it's not. It's basically a zombie apocalypse. Yeah. A zombie outbreak breaks out. That seems kind of redundant. A zombie outbreak breaks out. Basically, there's a zombie pandemic, and the main characters are, and this is actually, I thought this part was kind of badass. They're a Black Ops team of ex-Crusaders. I was like, oh shit, that sounds awesome. Like you think modern day Black Ops? Well, this is like a modern day Black Ops, but set in the medieval times. So basically, they took like the best soldiers that they can find from like crusades and just like different villages, and they band them together, and they go on like special like secret missions. And I thought, okay, that sounds really badass. Unfortunately, we never actually get to see them do any of that because zombie outbreak breaks out. Zombie outbreak breaks out because the zombie pandemic breaks out, and they are given a mission by the Vatican. But I mean, it's kind of like at this point, it's just I think it's mostly just because they're like one of the few people that are still alive. Basically, their mission is that they have to go get the Pope and take him to safety because Italy is infected as well with zombies. So that's kind of where the last issue took place, was them getting to the castle that the Pope is hiding in, and they had to basically escort him to safety in Paris. They had to, so like here's like a brief overview of the characters. So we have Roderick Helms, stoic ex-Crusader, and Fiat Lux, leader. And Fiat Lux is the name of the Black Ops team. We have Jeffrey, who is strong as an ox, Roderick's oldest and most loyal companion. We have Giovanni, devout and cold, chief assassin of the group, and he is like very hardcore religious to the point where anyone who says anything negative towards religion, towards the Pope, he will like try to kill him. he's like that devout. We have James, known as Jester, due to his jovial nature, and he was bitten by a zombie. So, James was bitten by a zombie in the very first issue. He became a zombie, and for some reason, the team is still carrying him around with them, just because they think maybe they can find a cure for him. Even though, they ripped his jaw off because he tried to attack them. So, if they were able to cure him, he would have no jaw. So it would only be like he would pretty much die like immediately. We have Abel, quiet and reserved, mainly because of the secret that he keeps. And judging by the picture, I'm pretty sure you can tell what that secret is, and this issue spoils it for you. This was a secret that I knew from the very first page. I already saw that from the very first issue. I saw this twist coming. I'll reveal that spoil in just a little bit. Then we have William, the brains of the group, and he is dead. He died in either issue 1 or issue 2. Basically, they were taking a shift towards the city that the Pope was hiding in, and there were a bunch of zombies in the water, so they had to take a little raft to get to land, and the zombies started trying to climb on board the raft, and William got pulled in, and he died. If any of you guys hear my dog still snoring, yeah, she's sleeping behind me. She's still snoring. So Cyprus, 1 year ago, this is 1 year before the outbreak, we have Roderick, and he's in this I don't know what it's called. It's not necessarily church. Basically, it's a covenant. There we go. It says right there in the dialogue. He's in this covenant with a bunch of nuns, basically talking about how this one sword master who like parents were killed by Turks, and since then this person had like a strong desire to grab a sword and get revenge. And Roderick is like, well, there is some good swordsmanship here, certainly among the finest I've seen, but these are stationary targets, and, well, the obvious issue also remains at hand. She's a girl. And that's the spoiler. Abel is actually a female. And her name isn't Abel, it's actually Isabel. They just took the Abel part and made that the name. Yeah, I mean, this is something you can easily see from the very first issue. I don't know how anyone else confuses Abel with a guy. I'm assuming Abel's able to change her voice to make her sound more manly, but even then, Abel doesn't wear a helmet, which I thought was funny. Like, of all the characters who doesn't wear a helmet, Abel is the one that doesn't. Abel wears the, what's it called? Oh my god, I can't remember the name. Anyone who's watched WCW, you know Scott Steiner, that thing that he used to wear during his entrance? She wears one of those, but she doesn't wear a helmet. So I was like, okay, you're trying to come across as a man. Maybe you should put a helmet on. It's not going to seem too weird because everyone else wears one. But for someone who wants to hide the fact that they're a girl, the fact that you're the one that doesn't, it's kind of funny. But here's a part that I really didn't care for. It kind of put me off a tiny bit. Roderick decides to test her on her swordmanship. So they have a sword battle, and she defeats him. Not only does she defeat him, but she does it pretty easily. Like, he never gets the upper hand. Like, she easily beats him. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, I kind of gotta call bullshit on this. She's a tiny child. She's a female. And before anyone gets on my case, I'm just pointing out the fact that she's female because of the fact that women biologically are not as strong as men. I mean, there are some women out there that are stronger than men, but a woman in her peak against a man in his peak, the man's always going to be stronger. That's just the way biology is. So, she's a child, she's female, she's carrying a heavy sword and a shield, and she easily defeats this man who is in the peak of his life, who has fought in the Crusades, who is strong enough to not only survive the Crusades, but also lead a Black Ops group. and yet this child beats him easily. I'm calling bullshit. That was the one put off that I had so far in this issue, and this is like and it's not this issue in this series, and this is issue number 4. So, I mean, the other one was I kind of hoped that it wasn't going to be a zombie story. I kind of wanted something more grounded in reality, but I actually I like the story. I like zombie apocalypse stories. It's just I'm kind of burnt out on that at the moment. I mean, I have a couple that I'm still reading, like Z Nation, but I don't know. I feel like the zombie thing is kind of overdone. But like I said, this the series actually does a great job of it, so I don't mind it whatsoever. So yeah, she easily beats him, and he's like, "All right, you're on the team. You're no longer Isabel. You are now Abel." And he puts like this bucket on her head, and I think I mentioned earlier, but man, this artwork is freaking amazing. I mean, it's not as good as the last issue I just did, which was Birthright, but it's still awesome. Like, it's still fucking better than most of the stuff coming out of Marvel. And I'll be honest with you, it's better than the Flash's latest issue. I don't care for the artwork for the latest issue of the Flash. I'm not gonna do a review on that issue, but yeah, I'm not a fan of that new style. But yeah, I thought it was kind of funny. He's like, you're now able. Welcome to the group. Puts a helmet on her head, and then it cuts to her in the future, and she doesn't have a helmet on. I mean, she does, but it's not hiding her face. Because here we go. Here's Abel. As you can see, she has no problem showing off her face. And I'm just kind of like, lady, you're trying to hide the fact you're a dude. And this is like a time where like everyone is wearing helmets. Like everyone in your group is wearing helmets. So it's not going to seem weird for you to wear a helmet. Just put a helmet on. But yeah, they're trying to hold off a bunch of zombies. They're barricaded like in this castle, and zombies are trying to break in. And the zombies are actually getting smarter. Like the zombies before were just kind of, your average zombies, but now zombies are like using weapons. Like they can use swords and stuff like that. Not that well, but they can still swing it. And yeah, as we can see here, there's a ton of zombies breaking in. I think I'm gonna have to blur that part out. Yeah, there's you guys should already be under the assumption that a medieval zombie apocalypse story is gonna be, not for kids. It's gonna be for adults. But yeah, just so you guys know, there's violence in here, and there's some nudity. Most of the nudity comes from naked zombies, but yeah, definitely not something for kids. So yeah, Roderick is talking to a couple of the priests actually not priests, cardinals, who are in here, and Roderick keeps asking about the Pope, because that's their whole mission, is to get the Pope out. But the cardinals seem to be kind of silent. Like they're like, the Pope is busy. Like they keep giving excuses for why they can't see the Pope. And Roderick just finally gets sick of it, and he's like, either you tell me where the Pope is, or I'm going to beat you to death. And here is where we see how devout Don Levick is, where he's like, release the cardinal, or I release my dagger into your neck. And believe me, I will be more than happy to do it. And I like this little comeback. Roderick is like, no secret there, Dominic. Just as it's no secret that you've never quite understood what it truly means to be Fiat Lux. What it means to be a part of a group that stands together. For example, like the member of the group standing behind you, who will split your head like a fucking grape. And then we see Jeffrey with an axe to Dominic's head. And believe me, I'll be more than happy to do it. Fucking thrilled even. Oh, we got some irony going. So yeah, Roderick continues to demand from the cardinal that he shows the Pope, and then the Pope arrives. And turns out the Pope was bitten by a zombie, and he's starting to become one. He's still amongst the living at the moment, but yeah, he's gonna become a zombie soon. And the Pope is basically talking about how there was like an attempt to escape, and he was amongst the group, and during that time he got bitten in the hand. He was able to make it back into the cathedral, but yeah, he's infected. So the zombies are breaking down the doors, and they're starting to break in, and the Pope tells them about a secret passage that will lead out. And the passage hasn't been used in a long time, so it's unsafe, but it's like, either we take the passage that might not be safe, or you go through a army of zombies. So I think the choice is pretty obvious. They decide to go through the army of zombies. I'm kidding. They decide to go through the passage. And as they're Go to the passage, they come across like locked doors that will like lead them outside, and Roderick basically says like, Jeffrey, start getting that door open, and meanwhile we will hold off the zombies. So lights go out, it's pitch blackness, and they have a battle with the zombies. But Jeffrey's able to break the door open, and then they come outside. So the group is outside, and Roderick basically tells them like Paris awaits us. Here's another thing that I don't care about this series is that they will do things like this panel where they have like a disembodied head, and that head is Roderick, who we see here on the left. I mean, so we see Roderick, and then we see his disembodied head on the right, and it's very confusing that they do that. Like, just put that as a separate panel if you want like a close-up shot of his face or something. The reason I don't care for this is because the first time I saw it, they did the disembodied head, and it was just to show, I think it was even Roderick. It could have been someone else. They wanted to show his expression. So he didn't even have a dialogue bubble. So all of a sudden we just see like we see a group shot, and then we see this disembodied head without anything to differentiate the fact that, it's just a close up of one of the characters. So for a moment I was like, was this some kind of like printing error? Did they accidentally print the disembodied head here when it was supposed to be? Is a disembodied head like, I mean, this is a supernatural universe. I mean, there's zombies and stuff. So maybe the head's like some kind of like spectacle ghost or something, like trying to tell him something. Like, it confused me for a moment, and it took me a while to realize, oh, it's just one of the characters and it's a close up of their head because they want to show their expression or something. So yeah, I hate this. I think it's stupid. It comes across really weird and off-putting, and it kind of takes me out of the story briefly. But everything else about the story, I like. Like, this series is really good. I like the artwork. I like the story. The characters are, I mean, they're not heroic, but they're not evil. Like, they're very believable characters. Everything about this series so far is really great. But the whole disembodied head thing, not a fan of that. But other than that, I don't really have any other complaints about this series. Minus the fact that, Abel, that whole Abel situation, I just thought that was kind of, I didn't really care for that. But everything else so far is good. So going back to the comic. So Roderick is going to take the surviving cardinal and the transforming pope, I guess. I don't know why you want to take him with you if you know he's going to become a zombie. But they decide to bring him along as they go to Paris, where there's supposed to be safety. And then as they're leaving, basically as we're leaving, Jeffrey says something, I'm just amazed we're not all fucking dead. And then we get a close up of Abel, and like tears start coming down her eyes, and she says, good thing we're not all dead. And it's because we see she has been bitten, so she's going to become a zombie, which kind of sucks because I actually kind of liked Abel. I mean, I didn't care for that flashback scene, but in my previous issues, and even in this issue, other than that flashback scene, she's like a good character. She's not terrible in any way. In that flashback scene, it's nothing that she does. I mean, it's not that that makes me hate her character. It's just I didn't care for the fact that the writers, or should I say writer, made a unexperienced teenage girl be a stronger sword and a better sword fighter than a man in peak physical condition who fought in the Crusades and was good enough to lead a Black Ops group. Like, that really kind of irritated me a bit. But other than that, like, her character's really awesome. So it's kind of disappointing that she's not gonna last long unless they somehow find a cure. But yeah, fuck, look at this. This is the cover for issue number 5. God damn, that's fucking gorgeous. He has to be using like actual photos to get to do this, right? I mean, if he's just doing this like off the top of his head, then holy fuck, this guy is good. But yeah, I love damn it, what was his name again? Tim Bradstreet. I love his artwork. His artwork is fucking amazing. I love his covers and stuff like that. Let's just see if he has a Twitter. Maybe he like will post like some of his stuff. Here's the thing: when it comes to Twitter, I'm very nervous about following comic book bros, just because anyone who watches Diversity in Comics and Captain Cummings and stuff, you guys know why. I don't want to listen to any of their politics and shit. Like, I mean, you can be a hardcore liberal, you can be a hardcore conservative, as long as if you're not using your Twitter to like shout out all your politics and lecture other people and badmouth people who like disagree with you. Like the comic book pros that I follow are the people who all they post is comic book stuff. Like they just post like, here's my artwork for this issue. Here's some commissions that I did. Here's those comic book pros. I will follow them because that's awesome. Comic book pros who just do nothing but talk about politics. It's like, I don't want to follow you guys. Not only that, but knowing that that's how you are makes me dislike your comics even more. Like it makes me okay. For example, Gwenpool, huge fan of Gwenpool. After the whole Heather Antos milkshake and just seeing the way she is on Twitter, after seeing the way the writer is on Twitter, I'm still a fan of the series, but it makes it really hard to enjoy it just because I know about the people behind it now. And I know it's that whole like separate the person from the art, but it's very hard to do that. So yeah, I don't want to follow Tim Bradstreet unless I know that he's like a decent dude. Like that's why I'm almost scared to look up these comic book creators and writers and artists and stuff. Like I will love the hell out of their work, and I almost don't even want to see how they are like in real life because that whole like never meet your heroes. I wouldn't necessarily say that they're my heroes, but I mean, like I would love to see more of Tim Bradstreet's works, but I don't know how he is as a person. So maybe anyone who follows him can like let me know. Let me know if it's safe. Uh, yeah, just because I don't want to be one of those where like I don't want to love someone's like work, and then I see how they are in real life, and then it's like I can still appreciate your work, but it's very hard now because I just every time I'm reading your stuff, I just keep remembering how you are in real life. I'm not saying that's how any of these people are, like in this series. I mean, they could be, they could not be. Who knows? I don't follow them, so. But oh man, I'm starting to ramble. Let's just end this here. Pestilence, amazing series. I'm really enjoying it so far. If you like zombie apocalypse stories, definitely pick it up. Good series, good artwork. I mean, it's only 4 issues in, so it's in the fourth issue. Just recently came out, so it won't be too hard to track down the rest of the issues and get all caught up and stuff like that. I think this might actually end up even being a mini series. I don't know. I should look more into that. But yeah, so far so good. So Pestilence. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you guys all next time. Later.